Trusting in those reassurances, I remarried a younger man, hoping to build a happier life for myself and my daughter. Yet, he failed to keep his promises and treated both me and my daughter poorly. One day, after my daughter had an accident and was rushed to the emergency room, I immediately contacted my husband. "Come to the hospital quickly," I pleaded, panic rising in my voice, but he rejected my request. "It's my mom's birthday party, I don't care about someone else's kid," he snapped before hanging up. That moment marked the turning point in his life. The very next day, he lost everything. "My name is Isabella, and I'm 35 years old, a dedicated office worker. My family consists of my husband, Jake, who is 5 years younger than me, and my 7-year-old daughter, Anna. Jake and I have been married for almost 2 years now, though our marriage timeline may seem mismatched with Anna's age. That's because Jake is my second husband, and Anna is from my first marriage. My first husband was kind and loved both me and Anna deeply, but tragically, he passed away in a traffic accident. I struggled immensely with his loss, and without Anna, I might have followed him in my grief. Thankfully, my family, my parents and older brother, provided me with the support I desperately needed. Once I managed to recover, I met Jake through a professional connection, and he confessed his feelings for me. "Isabella, I really like you. Please consider dating me with marriage in mind," he said. I was taken aback by his confession. Jake is charismatic, outgoing, and can converse easily, which made me like him too. However, I never imagined he would propose such an idea. Initially, I turned him down, but Jake's somewhat unreliable yet endearing nature appealed to my protective instincts. Even though he was 5 years younger and I had a daughter, I never saw him as a potential romantic partner. Still, Jake wouldn't give up. "I get along great with kids. I'm sure I'll be a great father to Anna. I promise to make both of you happy," he insisted. His sincerity made me reconsider. I'd been worried about Anna needing a father figure, so I introduced Jake to her. He eagerly played with her, giving her piggyback rides and making her laugh. Anna warmed up to him quickly. Maybe he could fill the void left by my late husband, I thought. With that hope, I decided to marry Jake. However, there were concerns. Jake had a complicated relationship with his mother. He had lost his father at a young age and had been raised by a single mother, who he often spoke of with gratitude. "I owe everything to my mom, who raised me alone. I feel like I need to cherish her," Jake once told me. At first, this seemed like a touching story of devotion. However, I soon grew uneasy. Whenever Jake was with his mother, he acted like a child, always clinging to her. She doted on him, and their bond seemed excessive. In contrast, he was distant and indifferent towards me and Anna. My mother-in-law clearly didn't approve of our marriage, perhaps because I was older and Anna was from my previous marriage. I overheard her say during pre-wedding discussions, "Jake could have done better." Though concerned about my mother-in-law's attitude, I thought that once we were married, Jake would prioritize our family. Unfortunately, my expectations were shattered. After we married, Jake's laziness became evident. Even though both of us worked, he did nothing to help around the house. He'd grumble when asked, saying, "I'm tired," or question, "Is being a housewife really that important?" Meanwhile, Anna, still young, would pitch in and help with chores. Yet Jake spent his weekends playing games or gambling, watching boat races online. Even when Anna begged him to play, he would dismiss her with, "I'm busy," or "Go play with your mom." Slowly, Anna began to drift away from him. His reckless spending habits didn't help either. Jake blew through his salary on gaming, gambling, and drinking, leaving very little for household expenses. Meanwhile, I saved money for Anna's future, knowing I could rely only on myself. Moreover, Jake was extremely picky about food. He refused to eat vegetables and only wanted fish and meat. Even when I'd prepare meals with vegetables, he would push them aside. Considering Anna's growth and the need for a balanced diet, I couldn't just serve him meat all the time. Our arguments over this were frequent, and Jake would storm off to his mother's house, sulking over trivial matters. His behavior was immature, and I couldn't understand why he was so difficult. One day, after one of these arguments, I received a call from my mother-in-law. Instead of supporting me, she defended Jake. "It seems Jake cares more for his mother than his wife. He even prefers my cooking," she said. "Meat and fish are much better for him than vegetables." "I don't eat vegetables either. It's not something you should make such a big deal about," she continued. Jake's picky eating habits come from his mother, who always let him eat what he wanted out of love. But there's a limit to being too indulgent. By this point, I was fed up with Jake doing whatever he pleased. Thoughts of divorce crossed my mind. but the idea of remarriage held me back. Looking back now, I should have acted sooner, but things only worsened. When Anna turned 7, she began attending a local piano class. She had a lot of friends and seemed to be thriving, but one day, something terrible happened. Due to work-related errands, I was busy at home and feared we might be late for class. I usually walked her there, but that day, I needed to use Jake's car. However, he refused to let me drive it. "Please drive her to class," I asked, but he was reluctant. "No, I don't want to. It's a hassle. What's in it for me? Just let her take a break," he said. "That's not it. I need the car to get her there on time. Please let me borrow it," I pleaded. "No way, it's my car, and I don't want it damaged. Besides, it's my mom's birthday, and I'm going there now," he replied. "Can't you drop Anna off first? It won't take long," I suggested. But he refused again, insisting his mother's birthday celebration took precedence. That was the final straw. I wanted to get to my parents' house as quickly as possible, to be the first to celebrate my mom's birthday. I didn't buy that car to impress someone else's kid. The way Jake referred to Anna as someone else's kid really hit me, especially considering he had married me, claiming he would be a father to her. Yet when it's inconvenient for him, he treats her like a stranger. Jake and I have been going back and forth for a while now. Anna, noticing the tension rising between us, seemed to sense an argument brewing and stepped in to prevent it from escalating. "Mom, it's okay. I'll run ahead. Please don't fight with Dad." Her worried expression made me pause. I shouldn't be fighting in front of the children. It broke my heart to think of what Anna was experiencing because of us. Jake just scoffed and stormed off, saying, "I've got a call from the police." I quickly answered the phone, only to hear that there had been a serious traffic accident. Rushing to the scene, I arrived just in time to see Anna being loaded into an ambulance. She was pale, barely conscious. "Anna, hold on, don't leave me, stay with Mama." I squeezed her hand, desperately calling her name, but there was no response. It felt like a nightmare. My ex-husband had been in a car accident too, and now my daughter. I got into the ambulance and headed for the hospital. I tried to reach Jake, but he didn't answer. Feeling helpless, I called my parents, my brother, and his wife, and they rushed to the hospital. The doctor informed me that Anna had suffered a head injury and was in critical condition. The image of my late ex-husband flashed through my mind. I felt like I might collapse, but my brother steadied me. Finally, I managed to get Jake on the phone. "Why do you keep calling me? It's so annoying." Jake's harsh words came through, but I couldn't care less at the moment. "Please, come to the hospital. Anna's been in a car accident. We're at the hospital near our house." I pleaded with him, but his response shocked me. "Are you really calling me for something so trivial? I'm at my mom's birthday party. I don't care about other people's kids. Handle it yourself." Then, without another word, he hung up. His complete indifference to Anna's life left me speechless. I'd always known Jake was selfish, but dismissing Anna's well-being like that? I'll never forgive him. He will pay for this. As anger boiled inside me, my brother gripped my shoulder. I turned to find both my parents and brother furious, something I'd never seen before. "Isabella, does he always treat you like this?" I froze. Apparently, I had left the phone on speaker, and Jake's callous words had been heard by everyone in the room. My parents were shaking with anger. There was no more hiding. I confessed everything to them. "You need to divorce him," my brother said firmly. I was planning on it. How could someone be so heartless when Anna's life was at risk? Fortunately, Anna pulled through. After receiving immediate treatment, her condition stabilized, and within hours, she was awake. My family breathed a collective sigh of relief. The next day, Jake came home acting unusually cheerful, even humming, but his smile quickly faded when he saw my parents and brother gathered at the house. With my sister-in-law at the hospital watching over Anna, I stepped forward to address him. "How was your mom's birthday party?" I asked coldly. "Oh, it was fine, I guess," Jake replied, clearly uncomfortable. His usual confident demeanor had vanished. Ignoring his unease, I cut to the point. "We're getting a divorce. Sign the papers. Let the lawyers handle the rest." Jake's face drained of color. My brother spoke up, his voice cold. "Jake, I'm deeply disappointed in you. I trusted you to care for my sister. Looks like you've been neglectful of both her and Anna." Jake's expression darkened even further. He knew this wasn't just about me anymore. My brother, his boss, had always been supportive of Jake, but that was no longer the case. If my brother decided to sever ties with him, Jake's career would be in jeopardy. Also, The house we lived in belonged to my parents. They had given it to me as a gift for my remarriage, so Jake had no claim to it. If we divorced, he would be out. Jake, realizing the gravity of the situation, broke into a cold sweat and began trembling. Then, to my utter shock, he knelt down, begging for my forgiveness. Isabella, I'm sorry, I've taken you for granted. I don't want a divorce. I'll change. I'll take care of you and Anna from now on. Please don't leave me. Watching him grovel didn't stir any sympathy in me. In fact, I felt nothing but disdain. I've tried so hard to make this work, but you've done whatever you wanted without regard for us. You didn't even treat Anna well, and when she was in danger, you chose your mom's birthday over her. I've had enough. I will never forgive you for abandoning my daughter when her life was on the line. You may not care about her, but she's my daughter, and I'll protect her. Your mother, who enabled this behavior, is just as guilty, I said coldly. Your apology means nothing. You've broken my trust. I can't stay with someone who doesn't care about his own stepdaughter. Don't ever contact me or Anna again. Jake started crying, but I didn't care. My brother, parents, and I watched him with disdain. After that, Jake and I divorced. Since there was no infidelity, I didn't ask for alimony. I kicked him out of the house. Word of the divorce spread at work, and Jake's reputation as a mama's boy was sealed. He couldn't handle the gossip and eventually resigned. He moved back in with his mother, but their situation only worsened as their savings ran dry, and his health deteriorated. He now works multiple part-time jobs, but his condition keeps him from holding them for long. Jake, realizing his mistakes, begged for reconciliation, but I refused. Anna and I are now living a peaceful life, supported by my parents and brother. Anna, now out of the hospital, is smiling again. I will keep working to ensure she stays happy. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay stunned.